to ask.
There you go. All right, I think we're live, guys. Thanks for joining us. Here we got the Monday night crew here. I was going to call it the Gathering of Fools, but I decided to be more positive. So,
Anybody who's watched more than once already knows that.
right. Well, remember my Monday night game, I used to call us the Monday Night Miserable Bastards, I think was the title of our group.
The miserable bastards. I like that.
Yeah. But we're going to talk a little bit about Hex Crawl, and like all Hex Crawls, we don't have any freaking clue where it's going to end. So hang on, seatbelts in place, keep all your arms and hands inside, and if it gets lopped off, then blame Paul. He probably rolled for you. So, all right. So let's do our cool thing of the week. We got Mike, who wanted me to ask him specifically.
Yeah, so I took a page out of Vance's book. I think it was Vance said it last week about something.
Man, he ripped the page out of your book, Vance.
Yeah, I ripped out. Yeah, and I bent the corners too, Vance.
Oh,
And got Frito greasy finger stains on the pages. You said something about a meetup group or something. You doing your meetup group, and that's how y'all get together. I said, I've never in my area. I'm in suburbs north of Houston. I've never tried that and looked around. So I get on there last night or night before. I look at meetup. And within minutes, I found one of the game stores is running a Shadow Dart game. I mean, I found no Shadow Dart anything in the area. So the guy called me back today. He's running the game, and he was an old gamer like we are. And it's like bingo. I think I hit the jackpot as far as where to find real gamers that go to a location and play and have different games going on. And actually, he told me another place that sells Shadow Dark stuff nearby as well. So both of them are like, hey, Mark, how are you? That are about like 30 minutes away. And I think I'm going to up and volunteer for another game shop, the closest one to me. They have lots of 5e. They got Castles and Crusades. They got lots. They have Call of Cthulhu stuff, Dragon Bait. They got a lot of systems, but they don't have Shadow Dark. But I want to go volunteer, maybe put up a flyer or something, or get on their Discord and offer a GM a starter group to try it out. We need players, right? Need players, and if you don't go make new friends and get people going, then it ain't going to happen. So
yeah, and it sounds like from the little bit I read it with Kelsey's, she's been putting out her updates or whatever for a Kickstarter. Seems like she's going to make more of a push for retail coming up after this Kickstarter gets fulfilled. So hopefully, they'll start seeing some of her books up. And that's
I sure hope so. I mean,
there's nobody around here that has hers. I mean, they're like most of the gaming store that we have is just basically, I think they have five. They have, of course, 5e, a little bit of Cthulhu, and Pathfinder, and that's about it. A lot of Warhammer stuff.
You mentioned Friday night, Tim, when we did that adventure writing thing, the complete strategist in Manhattan, in Midtown. It's like calling Madison or.
I've never been there.
Didn't you mention that, or was it Tankar? I don't know. Maybe
Tankar goes there quite a bit.
And I know Joe had talked about it.
Joe goes there, but I've never been. They want to drag me there and everything. So I just haven't been up there yet.
I assume they're still going strong. I mean, because that place was around back in the 70s.
If
I remember right. But just curious. Not that I have a trip for New York planned. Used to go more regularly, but not in the last 2-3 years. Anyway, right. I will pass the baton, Vance.
Vance, what is your cool thing of the week?
Oh gosh, do I have anything cool this week?
He's looking on the shelf.
I don't know. Yeah, nothing has appeared in the mailbox after my little bit of post-vacation haul.
Yeah, how's your meetup group doing? Are you still doing that weekly, Vance?
No, I haven't done a meetup group for a month or two, a couple months, I think. I don't know. I need to. I might run one this weekend if I get off my ass and do it. We had we'd had a little bit of break while I was on vacation, but we had our usual band of suspects in our normal campaign run last night. We had 4 players and out of 5, and they're like the last time we talked, we were like, we're getting these, they're getting some basically automatons from a merchant that they had a kind of a dealing with, and so they're going to go and find a barrow to test these things out in. So I set up an appropriate barrow, which included some reasonably strong, undead and a magic casting phase spider, because they haven't gone up against a powerful magic user lately, and basically just handed their asses to them. We had one character. We had the NPC cleric at 0 hit points. So they beat feet with their tails between their legs, left some bribes to keep the spider happy, and took off back to their base town.
You running Shadow Dark, right, Vance? Or
I was running that in OSE.
Oh, okay, OSE. Yeah, so 0 hit points is very more important than.
Right. Yeah. And if you're, I don't read the rules totally strict. If you're at 0, you're basically, and it just happened to be they took exactly their hit points and damage from it was a lightning bolt. And
a lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Zabam.
Yeah. How many people in this little chamber just got hit by the lightning bolt? Well, everyone.
Right.
And it exploded all of the automatons. So their test
shrapnel flying everywhere.
Successful. Yeah, they're doing really well, except for they're not particularly. They're susceptible to massive electrical damage. But yeah, we had a good session and moved our campaign forward. We're getting close to
end game territory.
Conclusion.
How long you been running this one now, Vance?
Yeah,
How long have you been running this one?
Oh man, this one's pushing 2 years.
Okay, wow. What level are your guys?
Yeah, gosh, we got mostly around 6th, give or take.
Yeah.
And certainly because of the way that leveling goes on in like a BX or something like that, they'll be plateaued there for a while. We'll probably get everybody probably leveled up before the Battle of 5 Armies conclusion. But
yeah, I know you get it took me 500,000 hit points or XP to get to this next level, and I get to roll a D6, and I rolled a 1, so I got 500,000 XP for 1 hit point. welcome to OSE.
Yeah. Our cleric henchman that is now. He's probably catching up with the player who's playing an elf, but which is another thing. But yeah, he's got like a 7 constitution, so everything's a D6 -1 with him, and he stays way in the back unless he needs to do something.
Level, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
That's remember when I was playing in Matt Jackson's one thing. I can't remember what he started off with, but my one mage character had a 3 constitution for the longest time.
No matter what you roll,
I think I was 7th level when it ended, and I had 6 hit points. Something like that. Even though you're supposed to get like a minimum of 1 per level, something else happened to me that crippled me up, so I actually lost a hit point permanently on top of it. So he basically had 6 hit points for 7, but he lived. So it was fun. He was fun to keep, because the best thing about that character is Matt, when he was designing his dungeons and his adventures, was very 2-dimensional in thinking, and I had boots of levitation, so I could solve problems in 3 dimensions. And
oh god, he griped about that for.
Yeah, he was making it the most. He was banning it from all his campaigns. Nobody's allowed to have boots of levitation. Oh yeah, that was funny. So my cool thing of the week is this. I haven't even cracked it open yet, but I can't help it. a little book about cryptids. I love getting books about cryptids. Nice hardback. I mean, I've got some. Normally, I wouldn't buy another book about cryptids because how many times can you read about Mothman and
butterfly?
Just all the different. But this one definitely has a little bit more. I mean, I guess I will read 100 things about Mothman because he's my favorite. But like they got the Tennessee Terror, a cryptid with a curse, and because I hadn't heard of it. And then I like that they have the Enfield monster because when I think of Enfield, I think of the Enfield poltergeist back in England in the I think it was late 60s or early 70s. It was the first legal documented case of a poltergeist over there in Enfield. So they actually did because the police went over there to check it out, and then they saw some of the shit happen. So it actually all poltergeist activity got put into a police report, and that's like the first, I guess, case of. Because then of course it became popular with The Conjuring 2. Did you ever see that movie?
I remember that one. I mean, I don't remember the whole movie, but I remember the.
That's what it's based on. I mean, it's completely different from kind of what happened, but it's based off of that. But.
Conjuring 1 was a musical, right? A lot of dancing, singing.
Yeah, there was it was pretty good. Yeah.
I thought it was Conjuring 3 usually goes to the
Rogers and
musical theater version.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, a lot of jazz hands.
Lerner and Lowe.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was
Murder Hobo.
That was
musical.
my cool thing of the week.
Tim, where did that come from? Who made it? I'm sorry.
Barnes and Nobles.
Barnes and Noble. Huh.
Yeah, it was just because in our Barnes and Nobles, I love what they do. It's like right by the cafe, they have their, what do they call it? Back in the day, it used to be the occult section, but they don't call it that anymore. I forgot what self-transformation section. I think is what they call it now. I don't know. They got some cheesy.
He's right.
Yeah, well, it used to be
right next to the getting your chakras aligned section.
It used to be a cult. Then it was New Age. Remember when it was New Age?
Yeah, New Age.
And now I think it is like self-transformation or something because they got tarot cards, but they have a good selection of like just weird shit that I'm in, like right out and all stacked up. I don't need another
self-piercing kit.
Or I'm trying to think James Patterson book or another, Dan Brown, Brand book or anything like that. So it's fun that they have some of these weird, and some of them are kind of locally published that they carry there, which is cool. They have this section that's all like local publishers, and those are interesting. I tend to gravitate more towards those sometimes, but it's a nice hardback book. It's by J.W. Ocker. It's a nice hardback book. Let's see, it was $20, but if you go to Barnes and Noble and you remember, you get 10% off. And then I always I buy too much there, so I always got a coupon for $5 off too. So I get a $5 coupon because they spend too much of all the other stuff. So
I have to admit, I still like going to Barnes and Noble. I mean, I don't know if Brentano's is still around or some of the others, but I know a lot of them are gone by now. But
yeah, I still miss my Borders. Borders was my favorite.
Yeah, Borders was a good store because music and everything.
All right, Hex Crawls, guys.
Okay, where were we?
Probably dying from thirst or something like that. I don't know.
Now, when you say Hex Crawls, are you talking just Hex Crawl rules in general? Or are you talking about going back to the adventure writing from
no, not the adventure, just
French dwarf.
You know what's funny? You should mention that. I'm thinking Mike did this. So on my Facebook today, actually, I had two people who asked me to follow them, and they both had very French names that I couldn't pronounce. I'm like,
I've not been on Facebook today.
I was like, Mike's connecting you with some weird French underground people in
hockey players from Quebec,
or right, the French. They might be French Canadians. Yeah, maybe Maybe Shane is sending them down towards me. Shane, yeah, I don't know.
Exactly.
I'm intrigued by the fact that Tim's wearing a hat and you guys are both in hoodies, and we've been around 95 to 97 the past few days down here.
Yeah, subtract 50 degrees for us. It was about 45 today here,
Yeah,
45, 47.
Yeah, we've had rain all weekend and setting in again. It's about 60
What?
here. That's
Rain
not too
yeah.
bad, but we have a phenomenon referred to as January in the Pacific
January, I haven't heard
Northwest. So
that.
May is usually pretty nice, and then about Memorial Day, everything goes shit for about a month.
That's funny.
Everybody complains about whatever they have, and they want something else. Just human nature.
Oh, I am not complaining about I will take this 45-degree weather over 85-degree weather any day.
But you know what you can do? You can go into Nave 2E.
Let me go in.
And
you have it?
No. I'm just saying, if you were sick of the weather where you are, and you go to page 9,
all right,
and there's a D100 table of travel ships, and you could roll there. And instead of the weather you have now, you could roll a 56, for example, and get a lava flow.
Ooh.
Or 76 is a sandstorm.
All right.
85 steam devils. That sounds like something married couples do under the covers before they go to the anyway. Steam couple. Yeah. I guess husbands do that. Wives don't do that. 94, same thing. Volcanic bombs. So yeah, you could change your situation.
Is that the travel shift you're talking about?
Yeah. It's actually
a rain of frogs or worms.
Frogs. Yeah, or a mug of blood and a rain of catfish. That'd be fine. Of course, you could eat those. You could eat the frogs too.
Okay, what is a pyroclastic flow?
It is a volcanic flow that's basically it's part of an explosive eruption where you have superheated ash essentially running down a side of a mountain that's exceptionally fast, very thick, turns into volcanic tuff. That's TUFF. It's essentially like
I was going to say, you ask a guy who lives in the region with Mount St. Helens. That's it.
Wow. That's why I asked Vance. Yeah.
It almost sounds like y'all rehearsed that. Did you say, I'm going to ask you about pyro? What was it?
I figured Vance would know if I asked that question. Yeah, because I figured it had something to do with like lava, but I don't think I've ever heard that term before.
Yeah.
Pyroclast. So it's just basically thick lava then, or
it's ash, which is basically you have your lava body or your magma body, excuse me. Their geologists about slapping anyway. And you have an explosive eruption because it hits like groundwater or something like that. So you have essentially superheated steam.
Okay.
And then it rolls down the side of the mountain. So one of the best, probably the best one that anyone would recognize would be like the Pompeii.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about a huge explosion with these bad boys, then.
They can be massive, yeah, and they can travel, because of the, kind of the dynamics or physics of it. They can travel quite a ways because it's like an avalanche where it's actually could be moving almost like on a cushion of air, and can be. Yeah, they can be very thick. When I used to climb at Smith Rock, Oregon, which is a pyroclastic flow, and those cliffs are multiple hundred feet tall. Yeah,
I still remember when that erupted because we were getting ash here in Pennsylvania from that eruption in Washington. It traveled quite a ways. That's pretty cool. Let's see, because didn't you say there was some hex stuff on here too?
132 is. Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking Shadow Dark or what?
No. Let's bring out Nave. I got Nave back when he put it out. I mean, am I a fan of Ben Milton? No, but I do. I always like to keep my mind open and see what they have to offer. And I thought he did a really good job with this.
Yeah, and I guess he and Kelsey are close because I know they both speak highly of each other's property and how you could. That's what my video about was about last night. Is the page before weather on page 8 is traveling, and there's a couple of neat things. He talks about breaking up your day. Oh, hey, Chubby. He talks about breaking up your day into 6 4-hour watches when you're traveling. And each watch, before you start off on a 3-day trip and you're going to be going, maybe instead of every night, who's on watch, who's on call, let's roll to see. You just decide those things before you go. There you go. Your watches. And it seems like an easy mechanic for deciding that.
Is that what you do, Vance? Do you do the traveling days or divide it into 6 to 4? What do you do?
I usually divide to basically maybe 2 during the day, 2 during the night, depending on kind of my mood at the moment. Maybe 3.
That's kind of what I did.
Yeah. What about you, Mike? Do you do?
Yeah, if 5e, I did something similar, but that was before I had Knave 2e when that campaign started. We haven't played about 3 months now, so I don't know where that is. But yeah, I'm just looking for something a little more. Yeah, it's all up to your tolerance for pain or fun, however you feel.
Right.
I like a little grittier mechanic with travel. I don't want to spend all day on it. We can move along. We can telescope time. You don't have to get bogged down. But the thing I said last night is, it's the old Alec Baldwin line from Glengarry Glen Ross. The leads aren't weak. You're weak. Travel isn't boring.
I thought you were going to say second place is a set of steak knives.
Yeah. Well, he said a lot of other things that I'm not going to say on this. It's a great piece of acting and a great speech. Coffee is for closers. But I actually have a pair of those brass balls somewhere around here. A buddy gave me, and this is from the old office.
Let me dig in your brass balls there, Mike.
Yeah. I had a pair of those thanks to Alec Baldwin.
You put them down to you. You got to show everybody your balls there, Mike.
And for those of you my age, you'll remember those plastic clackers we used to get.
Yes.
Until they, kids were like swinging them around like bolo balls. And
what are they called? Keops or something like that?
Oh, I don't remember. Was that an Egyptian god or something? I don't know.
They are, yeah.
Keops, Cheops.
Yeah.
Is that what they call them? I don't know. But you'd always wind up swinging them around and hitting the other kid in the head with them.
Oh, God. I damaged my wall so bad with those things. Yeah. We set up my sister's teddy bear on a rocking chair, and we'd swing him around and try to hit the bear, and then we'd hit the wall behind it. We didn't realize how much damage we were doing to the wall behind us. And then we were like, well, we already fucked up the wall. Why stop now? If we're going to get in trouble,
tear it all down.
You're going to go all in now.
Yeah, Chubby says in his expanded equipment supplement, those brass balls are there and they're worth 1 XP, they cost a gold piece or something. He says worth 1 XP. I guess he meant gold piece or something.
Well, no, because you get XP for treasure. So
I'm actually doing one of the other modes where it's a little more not forgiving. It's just a bit of a compromise, because I just don't like the straight up treasure dynamic. I like it, but I also like it in combination with the experience gathered from a different type of encounter, even a role play that was played well or something. But of course, you don't have a ton of XP to dish out in Shadow Dark.
Right.
How did you like the XP mechanic, the campaign y'all played last year, Tim, that wrapped up this year? Were you comfortable with the Shadow Dark level of XP earned for the players?
Well, how come Mike never plays those drums during the live? I don't know. We'll have to get him to do that sometime. So get a little Inagata-Davida drum solo in the background while we talk. Yeah.
There is a speaker over there.
I want to hear YYZ. Anyway,
the XP I like. Yeah. I have my own XP thing. I didn't use Shadow Dark's version because I wanted to expedite the character's level advancement, because I like to have the players be able to do some of the higher level stuff. So I give XP for treasure, for monsters, for location exploration, and then just showing the hell up for my game.
Yeah.
So I kind of give them that combo. And while it didn't seem like, I mean, in the first couple levels, it definitely seems like it really, your first couple levels, they zoom by if you do it that way. But at the end of it,
Yeah,
it didn't
it's
seem
slow.
that
What are we
much
on, third or fourth
difference.
level?
I don't
By
know.
the
What do you
end?
think, Vance? When did it seem to slow down the advancement?
Yeah, probably about third level, because it does the similar thing of kind of a increasing scale for level. So, but then obviously, I mean, you're kind of using your own criteria and things. So we kind of compensated around with some of the stuff by having more XP due to some of the challenges that we
And
were
I was throwing
dealing with.
because I was definitely not throwing level appropriate challenges at you guys almost at any time. You guys,
No, the fighting the roper was a something to take note of.
so yeah, you guys.
Yeah.
What did Chevy say? I have just as many house rules as Joe. I just don't write them down. I can't. I don't have. I don't have that many. Yeah. I was gonna say, unless you have evidence, there, Greg. You're gonna have to show it.
Well, it looks like Ken has joined us.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hey, Ken, how you doing, bud?
Good. Just got home from work.
Oh man, they must be running you ragged there, guy. He's been running.
I know, and I'm working for the government.
I know. You'd think he'd take it easy by now. No,
I mean, Joe just does gaming stuff at work.
So does Chubby.
Yeah, you are not wrong. You are not wrong. Yeah.
So do I.
Yeah, I know. It's like I see our text messages sometimes, and that one.
His mic just sitting there waiting for the next.
Well, especially like Joe's and those guys over there, they'll start sharing videos. I'm like, what do you guys do? Watch YouTube all day and then send out links? It's like, how do you get time to watch all this shit? It's like, it's not even interesting. But we were just talking about hex crawls and traveling and stuff. Ken, have you ever run like a hex crawl, Ken, or for?
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah.
So when you did your travel, how did you do? Like, we're kind of using Nave. This is Nave 2 that's up on the view thing right there, the screen.
Yeah, and I was listening to you on the way home, so I've been following.
Okay, so how did you do your kind of like traveling or shifts that you would do during hex crawl? Like, it sounds like Vance kind of just did his per day pretty much, and that. And how do you do it?
Well, I did it per hex, and you could travel. They were like 5 or 6 mile hexes.
Right.
And I did it that way once, and then another time, there was no, I think almost no underground sessions. Everything was, traveling across the land, or it was mostly it was an island campaign. So there was a lot of, that was completely different. But even traveling on the islands, I did it kind of similar to this, not quite as structured.
Right. Yeah. I think when I do mine, it's kind of a combo of both, because it just depends on what the players are doing. I mean, I do mine per hex, but say you go into a hex that maybe had some sort of landmark in there, and you guys are encountering that. That's all that's there. But if you stay there for a while, then other stuff might happen. Then the time element comes in. So it's a little bit of how far you're traveling and how much time you're taking in each spot.
Right, and that's what I did too.
Especially using the Comor Force. I mean, there's always something bad coming your way,
there's always at least one timer going.
There's got to be a timer going. Yeah,
you just hear all ticking everywhere you go.
Yeah, but when you have Joe in your party too, he's the one who's always hitting the alarm or the sleep button.
If we don't fix this thing right away, the world's going to be taken over. Well, we got to go shopping.
I need new shoes. I need new shoes. Now, do you guys ever? Now, one of the other thing is too is like, all right, so you got navigate. Do you guys ever do any lost rules, like getting lost?
No, I haven't really played with it. Yeah, at least in the campaign, the area, they have a reasonably good map, and they've got, it's a small enough area, even with, kind of the extent of the campaign, that, at most what I'll do is just kind of flex the number of days it's going to take for, potential encounters and, stumbling upon barrows and stuff like that.
What about you, Mike?
No, I really haven't in the past, but since I've come back into the hobby, 2 years ago, the long-term campaign, I say long-term, it's been 2 years, that campaign in 5e, it was based on a caravan thing that lasted for like 2 weeks. So most of it was in a very cultivated feudal area. There was not a lot of wilderness. So there was not a lot of opportunities, frankly, to get lost.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we didn't have an assigned guide or a ranger or a navigator role for a person that kind of took that on. They'd either have maps or they'd have directions. With the caravan, it was a route that they ran quite frequently from the capital in the south up to the capital in the north and so forth. So no would be the answer.
What about you, Ken? Any lost rules in yours?
Yeah, I've done that before. Especially when we were doing the seaborne, ship-based stuff.
Oh yeah, that would be that'd be interesting. The first time I ever used it was with you guys last time. Remember when you guys got lost for that short amount of time?
Yeah, that was horrifying.
Yeah.
Well, because like when I made that map for you guys, I actually put sites off the actual trail just in case you went into them, good or bad for whatever they were at the time. But I thought it was an interesting way to maybe have the players explore beyond that, but also, I think in a what do you want to call it, a resource kind of driven game, getting lost can really screw you over pretty bad. If you're running out of rations but like when you're in a force, it doesn't really make much difference. I mean, you guys are hunters. You guys can pretty much, as long as what you're hunting doesn't eat you, you're fine. And like I always had to say, like, there's always some stream or creek somewhere in that, and that you guys could always get water. So that didn't really. And then after I did it like twice with you guys got lost. I think I kind of started phasing it out because it didn't seem like it served the purpose. I guess maybe if all the party was together and you guys were doing it, but that was when you guys were split too. So, and it was just taking longer to get you to the point to maybe some resolution.
Yeah, Nave right there has a pretty simple dynamic for foraging, where finding food. I don't know if it's above the travel hazard die results that are shown on the right hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can scroll.
Keep going up. There we go.
There it is. Yeah, finding food takes a watch, so that's a 4-hour period to go find food, and then you make a roll and you collect up to 1d6 rations. But I would assume that would include fresh drinking water. If you're traveling with mounts and they need fodder or feed or something, you could do that, as well as actually food and something to cook or eat around the fire for the players.
I think that's how I play it. And I think they have some rules in OSE about doing the kind of something similar. I think you had to roll though to find something. So maybe Shadow Dark. I can't remember which.
So Mike, where is this from?
This is from Nave 2E. Ben Milton's.
We're showing right now, Ken, is Nave 2. Yeah, it's a second Nave. I don't know if you ever got that one, Ken.
I don't think I did.
Yeah, it's just a little book from Ben Milton, does Questing Beast.
Okay.
It's got a lot of really good tables and good things in it. I mean, will I ever play Nave? I don't know if I would, but I definitely like the overall product, and he's got lots of interesting tables in there you can roll for inspiration for a lot of different things. So I'm just looking at the.
Yeah, Chubby's trying to prompt me for an ad.
Is there a zine that could help someone who wanted to bring more mounts into their campaign? I don't know.
Well,
is there one, by the way?
No, for the advertising portion of the show.
Yeah, so our integrated ad into our thing. Yeah.
Thanks for mentioning it, Chubby. Yeah, so I am publishing my first zine. The first one's already on our website, eruditedm.com. It's a 48-page zine that includes a one-shot, and the whole theme of it, it's called Warhorse. Guess what it's about? Have stat blocks all written for Shadow Dark, as is the one-shot. But all the stat blocks for heavy and medium Warhorse, for a mule, for a pony, for a Rouncy, which is a general purpose horse, but not trained in Warhorse skills, as well as draft animals and so forth. So all of that kind of dynamic, if you want to add that into the game. Plus, there's a lot of random tables. I have one called "What's in the Saddlebags." You come across, a horse that's been lost and there's no rider, no one around. It's wandering in a field, so you go rifling through the saddlebags. Well, who knows what you'll find? So I've also got a Knight Lancer class. I had an interesting discussion today with. I'm surprised he's not on here yet. Michael Stengel, who usually yeah, he had sent me something, sent me an email, and was asking about paladins and paladins versus knights. And to me, I remember being so excited when paladins came into the game when we were kids. Or at least I was a kid in 1980. I think in 1E it was introduced, but then it became this spellcaster thing and this half priest thing, and it just does everything. It's too powerful. I probably would prefer not to play with them anymore. But
where is it on your slate, Mike? I have yours.
Okay, if you'll go up to the hamburger, the mega menu. I mean, the menu up at the upper right, the little 3 lines there. That's
okay.
Yeah, there you go. Hit shop. Get your credit card out.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, scroll down and hit the word Warhorse underneath to open the details.
You're suckering me into buy a copy, aren't you?
More than you ever want to see.
Yeah.
Hey, Flint.
Why don't you demonstrate for the audience how to?
Yeah, that's good. You're putting those numbers very.
This is a pretty substantial zine, though. It's more.
It is
a lot more than that, huh?
Yeah.
Here's the table of contents.
Yeah, and that goes on ad nauseum. So, but it's good. There's a lot of stuff there. You guys, I think, saw it in its earlier iterations, but that's the first one, and the second one's going to be Saints of the Shadow Dark, which is all things deities and religious and knightly orders and monastic orders and magic and so forth, all related to saints, other than Saint Taragnus and Saint Idris, which are the only 2 so far in Shadow Dark.
Right. That cover is great.
Oh, he's yanking my chain. Come on. Thank you. But I think you got to be kidding. I'm not happy with it. I need to find some original art and have some custom art done.
Well, Greg likes it because it's the same style he does. He does the glowy outline on a dark on a dark background.
Yeah, it's nothing too fancy, but I'm working in Canva, and it's great up to a point and easy for layouts. Chubby, I updated it since then. So anyway, bigger portion of the show that I wanted to take, but thanks for looking at it. And
well, no, this is kind of goes because I think one of your big issues with a lot of the travel is horses are almost non-existent in a lot of games.
Yeah, and I was talking with a guy. I won't mention his name. It was a nice talk on his channel. And I asked him in the comments about, why does everybody just hand wave horses? And he was like, they're too expensive and nobody wants to bother with them. And
who is it, Mike? Name his name. Don't go.
Name names, huh?
Yeah. What's his name?
The House Subcommittee on Un-American Activities.
We want names.
His name is it sounds like DM Jim, but it's not Jim.
Okay.
So if you keep running through it, anyway, it was a nice discussion back and forth.
Cool.
He was very polite. We weren't throwing fists or anything.
No.
But I mean, his answer was interesting, and I think a lot of people do feel that way. They really just want to get to the next dungeon, and so again, travel. You're going to have animals. You're going to have wagons. They don't have to be boring.
All right, you just sold a zine.
All right, ding, 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 ding. Honey, ring the bell.
Serenity Bell.
He does have a bell.
I used to keep this in my office at the old ad agency when we still had an office before COVID came along. But I forgot why I had it.
Michael, you spoke his name and he appeared.
I think I had it at the front desk. Hey, there's Michael. Michael, we were just talking about you in a good way.
Yeah.
Michael's here. There's the bell.
Oh, you get the bell for that one too.
Yeah.
Oh, Paul came. Paul doesn't get a bell. We got Paul in.
Oh, yeah. Well, Paul's, I need to close my little private chat sign. He was hidden on my window. I'm sorry, Paul. There's Flint. How are you, sir?
I'm fine.
Busiest man in showbiz.
No bells required for me. No bells and whistles. I'm a no bells and whistles kind of guy. We just show up.
Just show up and show off.
He's just a doom slaying kind of guy.
That's it.
He is. Oh,
No thrills here.
I sent out my my Patreon stuff, Paul, and I put some of your stickers in my Patreon stuff too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I've got them here. There's only so many places you can put sticker. Bring the doom.
True. So you got to give the doom away.
Yeah, you got to share the doom.
Share the doom, baby.
So I did that with a few of them. So
yeah, and I've already bought Mike's zine, so which will play well. I just I have in my process that I'm doing. I have what's called the Knights of Aether, and in the Knights of Aether, they're gonna have horses. They're gonna be because they patrol Skyreach, and so they're gonna have to have those.
Very, very cool.
Maybe a Pegasus Skyreach.
Well, I don't know about that, but I do have there's some other mounts. Mounts will not necessarily significant, but they will be available in Skyreach.
I think so many systems go right to the magical right away. They have a Pegasus, they have a unicorn, but they don't have a stinking regular plain old horse. It's the same problem with the knight and the paladin. We got a paladin can do all this fantastic stuff, but no basic feudal kind of knight who's a fighter who knows how to joust and run around with a lance.
Right. Of course, yeah. My campaign has the damned horses as well, which are the chaos mutated horses that many of which have caused PTSD.
Well, there's one of those in Shadow,
because the horse will hold a grudge, and if you kill its rider, it will show up a couple of sessions later.
Oh, very nice. That's good.
It'll bite your fingers for a carrot. They have one in Shadow Dark called a Nightmare, which I guess is about whatever D&D.
Good old nightmares, yeah. Yeah, I think I don't use them in my game because then I think the players start worrying about them too much. So they go to a dungeon and then they'll build an entire fortress to keep their horses safe, and then they'll have they're just worried. They're worried that somebody's going to take something from them or something's going to get killed, and they're not going to be able to do anything. And I find that it's like a very big worry about the players. And they start they'll throw henchmen into hell and not care one way or another. But if you take it their dog or their horse, because remember when people used to buy guard dogs, Greg throws them into the fire. He doesn't care about his guard dogs. He just put manacles on guard dogs and tells them to go get them stew. It's funny when players get their animals, they get very, very protective of them, and they get.
Well, you've seen John Wick, haven't you?
I mean, I haven't though. Yeah. I haven't. No.
Well, it starts with that.
I mean, I've heard
and ends poorly for everyone.
Yeah, well, I completely agree with that one. I mean, how can you go wrong with that premise?
We have we have one war dog in our party. It's my wife's war dog, or her character's war dog, Goober, who has been with us since day one of the campaign. And Goober rolls better than anybody else. Goober rolls a natural 20 to save against the lightning bolt
that's
yesterday.
hilarious.
So
Do not listen to Chubby.
and so and everybody, everybody's pretty much, if Goober dies, there's going to be
a
like
John Wick reenactment going on.
Yeah,
I'm
riot
sure.
at the table. Yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah, we let the dice lay where they fall, but we do rely on Goober to have relatively blessed.
What's your pup's name, Mike?
Saving.
This is Laszlo.
Laszlo. Oh, that's great.
He's a squirrel hunter, third level.
Third level. Okay.
Third class. He's in the Navy.
I was gonna say he's ranked.
I don't know. I've never started off an event, but I'm thinking, at least in my little world, that if I start off in Skyreach, I would start characters off on a horse, because I think the deal is, if you start them on a horse and do something significant with them, right? You're in some battle on horseback, or you're in a jousting match, or you're kicking. I think if you kick off that way and the horse has some use to it, versus just for traveling purposes or whatever, then I think players may or may not forget about it later on. They'll be like, oh, okay, well, I've already done that. I can afford to get away from my horse for a little while.
Right.
I don't know.
I'm starting to fear that maybe I should be playing Ars Magica or something, one of these history crossover games. I feel I have this fear every week, because I'm like, I keep going, but it's not realistic, and I'm playing fantasy game.
Well, because the reason why they're not made like in my campaign in Comor Forest is they're just a food source. I mean, if you bring a horse into the Comor Forest, the best thing you've got, I mean, at least that maybe gives you a chance when the owlbears come running at you in your first level. It's like, well, I guess I'm going to get a new horse.
Listen. Taking a horse into the Comor Forest is like parking your car in Atlanta with the doors locked. It's not going to drive.
But remember, you're back to end of, what was it, Fellowship of the Ring, right? Before Moria, they got Bill the Pony. What are they going to do with him? He can't go into. They got to leave him out there,
Right.
And they're worried about this poor old pony they bought from whoever, Bill Fernie or somebody, I don't remember.
Well, they're probably afraid Ken was going to come by and heal it.
Yeah, that would be the end of it.
Just, the donkey that went through Moria only to get annihilated by the healer on the other side or something like that.
Yeah, the one horse that was in the entire Comor Forest.
Right.
That was it.
That's it.
It's the last horse.
Ken killed the last horse.
Ken killed the last horse in Comor Forest. That's the name of the movie, isn't it? The Last Horse of Comor Forest.
It should be. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, it pretty much was, huh? Now, if they are using horses, do you speed up the travel time though?
Sure.
Yeah, I have some suggestions. My zine system, so I'll give them another hex, but I'm using 6 mile hex. On foot, 12 miles easily a day. And some, you're supposed to go 24. Watch that video that Bob Worldbuilder did last week, where he actually tried to walk 24 miles in a day in shorts and a t-shirt, not carrying any equipment. He sure as hell wasn't wearing chainmail on foot with a battle axe, a long sword, 5 torches, some caltrops.
Right.
He didn't have all that stuff. He was just bebopping. It was hard for him to get, I think, near that in an 8-hour period of just walking at a decent pace.
Yeah.
So anyway, I trim it back, and of course, if you have weather and things and all that, but
right, yeah.
But they could push through also, and if they push through and roll for some exhaustion effects or fatigue effects. That's why these other systems are so interesting, because so far, Shadow Dark is kind of sparse on that, which is fine. I'm glad it's sparse.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather it be sparse instead of trying to read through, my WotC,
I mean, it just depends on who's playing the game. Like when I was gaming with kids, and Paul, you might, or any of you guys might find, but it's like sometimes you get frustrated with the sparseness, but then if they stick with it long enough, they realize how much freedom there is with the sparseness too.
Yep.
Or if you try to change something in 5e or some sort of thing in Pathfinder, then it breaks something else, or it screws up something else. Where if you want to have something. The Shadow Dark's a nice little skeleton, and you can just start hanging some stuff on it and and it doesn't mess with the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So okay, here's an interesting one, because this is the one I sometimes get, where you say you get your realism thing, Mike. This is where I get my realism twitch, is when somebody goes into Hex and there's something in there. Say there's a statue or something. You don't automatically find a statue in a 6 mile hex. Hex. You know?
Went right to it.
Right, yeah, it's just right there. We see it. It's just got a big light shine, a big arrow.
What if it's like that Jesus thing in Rio de Janeiro? You
Right,
couldn't miss that for miles around.
Yeah. It's like, because like I do a lot of homeless outreach, and when they tell me, you know, somebody's in the woods, it's like we've got over 1,000 square miles of woods. No, I'm not just going to walk into your hex that you're pointing into and, oh, there's the homeless person. No, it doesn't work like that. So how do you guys do with, okay, so you've got some sort of landmark or something in the hex. How do you determine whether they find it or what they do for it or what, that kind of stuff? Or do you just give it to them?
Yeah, I'm soft on that. I kind of arm wave it.
Uh-huh.
Well, it depends if they have a map. I mean, if I've given them a map of some kind that tells them the directions or whatever to it, then, you know.
Doesn't automatically, but it's still, you're still giving them a map that's a 6 mile hex or whatever, unless it's a very, like, how do you determine if they, you know, find it? Maybe things have changed since then or whatever. Do you change, or do you just like, that's too much complication to the situation? You know, you got there, you survived, you know, here's your gift.
Well, yeah. That's like, it's like, do you want to deal with that, or you want to, like, it's like dealing with encumbrance. Like, do you want to, you know,
what you do in Shadow Dark though too.
Well, in Shadow Dark, but I mean, you have to look. That's pretty clear. You go do encumbrance with 2nd edition, right? I mean, go do that.
No,
but I'm just saying, why I don't want to make more rules than I have to make rules. So
just so you know, Paul, none of us could find encumbrance on the character sheet.
Right, correct.
I think Vance and Ken could agree. God, that character sheet was amazingly complicated.
Yeah, Tim, to answer your question, though, I think, you know, why would any party? It depends on what it's about, what they're doing. If they're just going from place to place, they're probably looking for a path or the easiest route to get through that hex as they march.
Right.
Why would they stop and go, oh, we're into a new 6 mile area, let's investigate in all directions? You know, why would that unless they're looking for something or physically trying to hunt someone down or hunt down, you know.
I tend to be soft on it though too, but it does once in a while. If I think if it's an old, like, if it's an old ruin, so it's going to be overgrown, so it's not just going to be obvious, I might make it a little bit more difficult or something like, I don't know. I can't remember when you guys were doing that hex crawl. Did you guys have difficulty finding the spots, or did I just, like, you entered the hex and you guys kind of just got the hex?
I think we had enough kind of sense that we or, you know, of where things were, that when we came upon something, you know, we could either redirect or had a sense that we'd found the thing. So, and I mean, I did similar in my campaign. You know, they were finding basically a bunch of old strongholds that were in the wilderness.
Oh, okay.
You know, and they had a rough map from a couple different sources. You know, rubbings that they'd taken from the side of a pillar, that sort of stuff. You know, they'd find old, you know, landmarks, old closed roads, occasionally the helpful NPC. You know, so I gave it, you know, I didn't make them, you know, plus I think, you know, one thing you also have to consider is just, okay, how much time do you want to burn in a session or whatever? You know, do we want to be spending, and, you know, I know how big a square mile is. I've got, you know, I know. Right. You know, and, you know, I was like, if I didn't know where, you know, if somebody parked their pickup in the bottom of a draw in my pasture, it would take me all day to find it. You know, kind of thing. And if
only you had a pony,
you know, that sort of thing. Yeah. Right. Now, if I had a pony, it would probably only take me about 30
at the end of the day.
But Tim, you use rules. I mean, we were constantly lost in the shadow in Como Forest. constantly lost. We'd roll and we're lost, and there's an encounter, and then we're lost again, and then there's something eating us.
Yeah,
I don't think you guys weren't lost. It was those two that got lost more. Was it you two?
Either way, we were lost as lost could be most of the
we
time.
weren't lost. We weren't. We were.
And Joe got lost inside of Nordstrom.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So if you want to add the element of realism, and you say, well, see whether or not even if you have a map, if things have changed, then you're going to have to roll and say, okay, do you have your bearings or not? You don't. Which way do you want to go?
Right.
Stuff's overgrown. You know,
that's what that's what I was doing with you guys.
Yeah, that thing that was once there is not there anymore, or whatever markers were there. So if you want to do that, you could do that and make it, that type of thing where it's a little more real in that sense.
Let's see.
Yeah, going back to those Nave 2E rules, which it's okay, Tim. I know you don't have them up. I'm still looking.
I can just.
He has 2 or 3 sentences under exploring. The party can spend a watch, that's a 4-hour period, in one hex to reveal any areas of interest, such as an overgrown ruin, a hidden pool, etc., that wouldn't be noticed by just passing through. So, yeah, there's not a lot concrete there. He's kind of
that's all you want to do.
I
think you would want to keep it as simple anyways. You don't want to make it too difficult for everybody.
Yeah, but if they're not searching, then why would you even bother putting something off the road? You're going to have that. You're going to have that clear water spring. Well, that's just an encounter. It can move from hex to hex to hex to hex when you do look or come across it. You're not going to, they didn't find it in hex 3205. So, I prepped all that for nothing.
Go back, and we've got a lot of comments right now. Well, Chubby's saying it's perfectly safe in Atlanta as long as you have a lot of guns. Why you got to have a wagon? Austin adds you got to have a wagon and some hirelings. Yeah, we were talking about that too, about the hirelings. So hirelings were disposable, but your horse wasn't. Because that the adventuring party will defend the draft horse more than they will their hirelings. Except if they're your kids, like Paul had his little kiddos. Yeah. Freedom through harshness. That's my big bad's new catchphrase. And then we got Death Angel in the house. Welcome, Death Angel. Basic game is fine. 1001 add-ons may not play well with them. No, you don't want to do 1001. Good grief. That's like the new Disney movie, isn't it? 1001 editions. Snow, that's a 4-letter word. Yeah, 4 is a 4-letter word too. It makes a
word's a 4-letter word.
And word's a 4-letter, yeah. And Michael said it makes a big difference if you're following a river or road. Absolutely, yeah, it does make a big difference. Because a lot of times when I was given directions in Como before, I would say it was like off a stream or river or something like that.
Yeah, I just don't believe travel has to be hard. If you, the GM and the players, before they start, hey, we're going to go 3 days from this town to that town. You just talk about things for a few minutes and decide what kind of journey or what kind of trip it is.
I mean, if they're traveling from town to town and it's a road, like with my campaigns, mainly through wilderness a lot of times, or some horrible thing, unexplored territory for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like if I was doing road to road, town to town with roads, definitely wouldn't do near as much. I'd still have a lot of encounters, but they would be more encounters that would be based off of the situation and getting lost. That's only if the players get run over. Joe takes a leak and falls down a big creek.
Could happen.
Yeah. Well, with Joe, that's why I use Joe as an example. Yeah. And then, of course, diseases in the forest and swamp, depending on the time of the year. Absolutely. And Austin also said, what is that? Also enjoy the phenomenon, things in certain areas that are neat. It can't be interacted with. Raining, darkness. Oh, okay. Floating water weird shit. Always like adding weird shit. Absolutely awesome. And then what's Chubby say here? Fun fact, even when you roll correctly in the Como Forest, you are still lost. The roll just determines whether you think you are lost or not.
A dream within a dream.
Yeah, I don't think it was didn't get that bad. Although I did with Ken, we were messing with sanity stuff in one of the campaigns, but that was a whole different thing.
You were describing the world when we were playing that, and that's kind of off topic, but
yeah. Well, I never told you.
You never said you went insane.
No.
You just started describing things as if I had taken LSD. And so I was seeing things differently than the other character, the other player.
Right. Yeah, you and Chris. Yeah,
you did a pretty good job of doing that.
And then, okay, and here's a big topic too. So we're getting into the weather now. Do you ball lightning? Yes. I actually saw a ball of lightning once. Yeah. It was really weird. Hit a tree, didn't do anything, just kind of disappeared into a big ass tree. I didn't know what it was. And they said, oh, that was lightning. Didn't know it came with balls. So did not realize it. So do you guys use weather that much in your game, and does it affect your travel time?
I've started to a little bit. I mean, mostly just because I'm running, our current sessions are taking place during a winter.
Yeah.
And so I do, I run a random, roll a random weather on Donjon. And, last night, for instance, I think we had a blizzard conditions with 60+ mile an hour winds.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Thankfully, they were in town during that time. Mm-hmm. So that just meant we blew a bunch of money and some, about 15 minutes of game time, doing carousing rolls, as the characters, scrambled from tavern to tavern. So I use it a little bit, and then that allow, can again slow or speed travel accordingly. And also for sailing stuff, I've got, because they're working around an inland sea. And so, we kind of combine that with maybe like a navigation roll type of thing to see if they hit the port they're aiming for, or if they're to, end up somewhere else on the coastline or something like that.
Well, too, weather helps. Excuse me. And I think overall, even traveling that, is really about if you want your players to do more exploration. So if you want your players to explore the world or find something that maybe they would not normally go in that direction. How many times have you seen a movie or something like that where weather determines, like, they pull off into some, usually a horror movie, and they'll stop at this abandoned house.
As they do,
to stay dry,
or a mini thing within a bigger movie,
or something like that. So I think you can use it to either move the story along, or as a part of exploration, if you want them to explore more of that hex in some way that would give them something, or they'd find something, like I said, they weren't necessarily normally looking for. You can use it for those things.
Yeah, and remember in Shadow Dark, the great mechanic that ties it all together and kind of leads from one thing to the next are the rumors, the way rumors are set up. So if you're using your rumors with every encounter, and it can be just a set of wandering pious pilgrims on the road heading the other direction, or it can be somebody in a village inn or whatever, wherever they are, but talking to other people, those rumors kind of, expand the story and give them, and that's where their choices and their agency comes from, probably are from those encounters. As opposed to, me or you going, hey, well, what do y'all want to do this time? Or where do you want to go? Now the dog won't leave me alone.
I hear.
Go away.
Well, listen, that's how Eleanor found those two kids, was just a random on the road encounter. They were just traveling, and they said, oh, you're going to, Hound's Head, and then we wound up talking with them and learned their story, and that led to something, led to a whole nother thing.
Yeah, to one of Chubby's points on another video like 2 weeks ago, I forgot who he was talking to, but this thing is one of the best systems for a GM's friend. If you don't have prep, you can find the tables in there to instantly go and create that NPC, Paul, or you can throw it together on the fly so easily if you've done this for years or you have some skills.
That's just Greg kissing Kelsey's butt.
She's here tonight.
I haven't seen her in here yet.
Kelsey is really Death Angel Shadow. That's just all. That's a fake account.
That's her alias. How about you, Ken? Like weather-wise, does that affect your game that much?
I don't know that I've used it a lot. But I think if I was running a hex crawl now, I would.
Yeah.
And I would have if I was really creating something that had a lot of random features to it, like travel shifts and things like that, like I would, try to have some interesting, weird things that maybe if the player stopped and say, why is this like a meta question, why is this happening? I wouldn't know. Something that would surprise me as the DM.
Yeah, that's my favorite when I get surprised when I'm DMing and I'm not really sure what's going on either. That's why I like presenting you guys with those situations, because I never know what the hell you guys are going to do. It's fun to.
That's right. That's right, Tim. You bring up a good point there, and so does Ken. As far as this, if you bring weather into this, and I decide to roll on a random table, and it says brush fire. right, and suddenly your players want to go rescue the town that it's about to go destroy. Okay, that's nothing what I had planned, but I think you have to be super conscious of what if you're running an open sandbox, you say, hey, I don't have any plans tonight.
Right.
Start there. If you have something planned tonight and you say, well, that's kind of the direction what I prep for, you may want to limit the amount of randomness that you have, because otherwise you're going places you really didn't plan on going.
Yeah, because you're adding another element, and players will
be players.
Players will do what they do. I think I never really started I used the weather a little bit, but like even in this last one, I kind of use it as a setting piece. Like you guys, the winter was coming. And then you guys knew that Houndhead was going to start shutting down. There was going to, just the natural effects of it. The monsters changed a little bit. You guys encountered the abominable, Bumbles.
Well, Vance and I created a nuclear winter.
You did, yes. Nothing
like having a dwarf and a goblin and
having control. Well, let's push this and twist this, and we'll be fine.
Yeah,
I think that was Blog's motto. I think every episode was like, "Oh, we'll be fine."
Yeah, pretty much.
How bad could it be? Hey, in the chat, Austin Walker said, "Do you need to use lunar cycles?" And I know, I think it's Perilous Wild or Into the Weird and Wild. One of them actually has that mechanic in there. If you want to figure it out,
I gotta
tell you why you have. I think you need to in Shadow Dark, because think about the torch timer, right? I think you did this in Comor Forest, Tim, right? If it's nighttime, midnight, and you're out in the dark forest, and it's a new moon, and there is no moonlight.
Well, the Comor Forest has got a heavy cover anyway, so it was night even in the middle of the day. So
foggy, cloudy, has that thing going. So you're going to have to use your torch timers. They're not just for dungeon delves.
Right. No,
I think there's a way to, like if you're using lycanthropy to completely flip, like if you have a full moon.
Oh yeah.
Suddenly instead of being like, well, this is a good travel night, it's like, no, this is a really bad travel night.
This is real bad.
Yeah, because Michael Landon comes running out after you.
That's right. Man, that's a big reference there. Jeez.
Anyone under 80 isn't going to get that.
I remember that.
I was thinking of Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox would be more ours, yeah.
That would work.
Although the one that creeped me out was Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was
everybody else.
That was a good movie.
That was a good one, yeah.
Yeah, I had every time I think about Hex Crawls, I think about when I was in high school.
So
and I'm not a big fan of I guess I'm not a big fan of listening to other people's D&D stories.
as we're doing it all night tonight.
Yeah, but my cousin was a huge comic book fan, and we would take turns DMing each other. But he also had a group of about 12 players. Like he would have these massive game nights, and I lived a little further away, and so I was never there for these sessions. So I was kind of in a different place in the world, and I was adventuring by myself as a paladin. I kind of envisioned him sort of a Clint Eastwood, the Reverend type of
Pale Rider, that one.
Yeah, Pale Rider.
Yeah.
And I was going through a hex, and I found a dagger hidden in a tree. It's like stuck in a tree and hidden. Well, I wasn't looking for it. Right. I wasn't searching it wasn't even saying, I'm going to spend 4 hours searching the hex. I think, there's no way that I should have found or just stumbled across this dagger. And it's because we didn't really know how to do a hex crawl at that time. It's like if you put something in the hex and you went into that hex, no matter what it was, you were going to find it.
Yeah, but I bet you when you found it, you probably thought it was pretty cool.
Well, it was a dagger of slaying. So if you hit something with it, you'd kill it.
Oh, wow.
So I totally destroyed this campaign because he was this comic book guy. So he had story arcs, like very.
Oh, okay.
So
specific.
He was later edition D&D before. I mean, he had a clear story arc and everything else, and all these other people were fighting this evil ice lord, and
okay.
I was just off on my own. I got taken prisoner by the ice lord, and his story plan was they were going to show up at this fortress, break in, attack the fortress, break in, and they'd rescue me, and that's how the campaign would end.
So you were the damsel in distress then?
Yeah. So I ended up being taken captive because I was by myself and I had to sleep at night, and so I was in front of this ice lord. I didn't have my weapons on me, and I said, "Do I still have my boots?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Do I still have this knife in my boot?" And he looked at me in horror, like, "Yeah, I guess you do." And I said, "Okay, I'm going to pull it out and stab the ice lord." And it was this dagger that, if I hit him, of course he's a wizard or magic user, no,
right.
And I was like a 10th level paladin that had an 1800 strength. And I hit him and I killed him. And so he had to completely flip the script. So this big party shows up. I wasn't around when this happened. I mean, me physically.
Right.
But instead of them rescuing me, they show up, break into this fortress. They had, this long drawn out battle. They break into the fortress. They're ready to fight the ice lord. They come in, they find me standing there with my foot on the ice lord's head, because I killed him completely. I mean, it still worked.
Right.
But it's like, if you got to be careful what you stick out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, a dagger of slaying seems we put a thermonuclear bomb. We'll just put it over here in this tree.
Well, we went way over as soon as we got the Dungeon Master's Guide, and it had all those artifacts.
Oh, sure.
You get an artifact, and you get an artifact.
The Monty Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all went through that. Yeah, we all had our Monty Hall phase. Yeah, but we loved it though. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. And I mean, there was no danger involved at a certain point.
No.
Because you couldn't. I had a ring he gave me that was a will ring. So whatever it was, the next level up from a unlimited wish ring. Whatever I willed would happen.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
I had to retire because that was no fun.
Right.
That's what you call unintended consequences. Like,
well,
it's not. He didn't plan it out.
Will ring. That sounds like.
I think he was trying. I think he was looking for some quid pro quo. Now, I give you this, so what are you going to give me?
What are you going to give?
What were you going to give him? What
I was going to say. It sounds kind of creepy, Ken.
Yeah, was he looking for for favors? What was he? What's he talking about?
A cup of cracked ice.
I think he just wanted a couple more artifacts.
All once artifacts. I'm looking for one of the things is just to get back for the weather thing. What's really great about weather that I've found too is like you can have some what they call, you guys probably already know the term, but capsule adventures. So they're kind of just contained in one setting. There's not, it's like on TV where they're only in one setting. They never move out of that one room, and they only have the same people and they interact. So that's what happens to the TV episodes when they run out of budget. So they just do a capsule episode to make it stretch. They have capsule episodes that do that. And weather's like a good, I guess, foil or a good way to introduce it and everything and contain the party a little bit. But let's see. So it looks like that's the ones. And then you guys of course know who, what did I do with it? What's his name? No, I don't know his name. Justin Alexander. I was want to call him Alexander or something. So he's the Alexandrian. That's
Alexandrian.
Yeah. So he put out, he's got a thing that he put out about the 4 basic things to a hex crawl and everything. The first one's the map, and that's fairly important, I guess. Yeah, I would say so. You can't really have a hex crawl without a map. But one of the things I wanted to do, share with folks, is I have 3 hex crawl or hex making map programs that one I kind of use just to use, and the other 2 I just sort of found, and they're kind of okay, but they're kind of difficult to use at the same time. So I'm going to start with the ones that is difficult to use first. So take it for whatever it's worth there. So we'll do the Hex TML.
Ooh.
So this one, you just click whatever you want over here, and then you go over to the hex and you just fill in the hex. Very, very clean, very easy to do. Although the roads do not match up. I try to get so you got a road that turns right. Well, to connect it, here's the road that turns left. Well, it doesn't connect. It's all fucked up. So I guess you can't do roads in at least not in this one, at least, or I'm not sure how you're supposed to do it in this one.
Maybe that's only for squares.
I was going to say it must be only for squares, but we're talking about hexes, Paul. They should have made hex stuff.
I'm just,
So, but this one's actually pretty decent, really easy to use if you just want some real cool color, basic hexes. Really easy to read. You can do that, and then you can add like the little stuff to it too. As you can see, there's like a witch hat over here. I wonder if I can place.
These kind of maps remind me of Avalon Hill games or Advanced Squad Leader or something.
Absolutely, yeah. And then the next one is, this one's kind of neat. It's a little rough, but I kind of like it too. Place. And this one's called Hexpedition. So it's like a isometric looking one. Nothing too fancy about it, but you just click down here. It's almost like a 1990s kind of interactive thing. Even the buttons and everything look. You click on what you want, and then you just kind of run over, so your stone's gray or whatever. The water's kind of tough, though. So you can make little water things, but the river, when I was trying to make rivers, it didn't want to run through it,
The river does not run through it.
No, it was giving me a
river
little...
looks like it changes elevation up and down.
It does, yeah. And then like when I want to add like an office, see how it drug off the other one? So you can't really have it keeps so you can't have like splitting rivers because it keeps dragging it off the other part or whatever. It can only bend one way, and that the roads are like that too. So, but it is kind of neat how it looks. Let's see, there's the objects. I don't know if I, and then like see the houses that are down there, the little red things. You can determine how big of a cluster. So if you just do one, you pick the smallest one, you only get, I guess, nothing right now. I'm not getting anything. You get a number of houses, how far you turn or put this over. So that's a low end. Then it gets more dense the farther you put it over. So it has some cool features to it. And this is the farm, although it looks exactly, this is supposed to be farmland. I don't know. I don't see anything yet. Oh, there we go. There's little crops there. But so there's that one. And then this one's kind of interesting. This one is very detailed. It's called Hex Crawls, 2nd edition. I don't know if you guys ever use this one.
I don't know that.
All right.
Oh.
So I think it takes a little while to roll one up. But, I mean, it's roll a solo. Maybe roll a solo did it. Can't remember what I just pushed. It might take a while. Oh God, I don't know what any of this shit is. That's it. We'll just push generate. I'm not gonna
there we go. There we go.
Yeah, that's too complicated for me. It had freaking fractions in it. So we got the Kingdom of Iridar, huh? Then you get closer, then the details start coming out, and then you can click. Then you can click on it, and then it'll give you random encounters. It'll give you a brief description of what's in there. Give you the weather, so you get your weather included there, and then let me see if I can find one. And if you find a dungeon, okay, see that little dungeon right there, guys? You see it? The little, I don't know if you can see my mouse running over it.
Oh,
you click on the dungeon entrance and watch what happens. They give it brought
Goes
up
to
a
the
map.
notes, I'm guessing.
Usually it brought up a map before. It went inside the dungeon and brought you a dungeon map too.
Huh.
Is it down below? If you or is that all you see?
That's
It's
all
not at the bottom of the.
No, that's all the further
okay.
it's going. It's just giving me. Maybe you have to. The Tomb of Cruel Order. You click on that. Maybe. There we go. So you click on the title of the dungeon, and now you go inside the dungeon, and it gives you. Now you got your dungeon map, and then
That's cool.
Yeah. It's kind of it is kind of cool, and then it just gives you possible treasure and different things like the crests of the husband or something. So like it gives you a reason to go in there on top of it too. And then if you want to know more information about it, you go outside. And their husband Almer was missing for last week, and he's being held captive. So yeah, it's just a cool little thing. Oh, I didn't even see this one before. What the hell's that? It's a little town thing too. Oh, can I click inside those? Yeah, it gives you even the names of the towns and what's inside the towns. I did not know that.
How about that?
That is pretty slick. I like this even more now. So if you want an instant hex world, I mean, this is pretty slick.
What is wrong with that barber that they have him so far away from the rest of the village? He did.
You gotta wonder. You gotta wonder.
It
might be one of the.
I've got a whole subplot in my next village description.
He's barber by day, gong farmer by night.
He doesn't use deodorant.
She has sleepy red-looking eyes, soft, gentle features, and stained clothes.
I can't go to a female.
Yeah, stained with what? That's the question. Yeah. Do we have like a oh god, what's the musical? The
Sweeney
Does that say elated?
Yeah, it says elated, and she in her pocket and it tells you what she has in her pocket: 1 copper piece, a magnifying glass, and a small flute.
Small flute.
Yeah, I guess
flute in your pocket, or are you just happy to see?
Right? Is that a flute in your pocket?
I don't think you want.
A small flute.
I don't think you want her having a flute in her pocket because
Yeah, well, maybe
you may
she's
have married the
fine.
wrong person.
Bone
It's-
flute made from our last customer. Yeah.
It's cool. She's Filipino.
And she's a member of the White Snakes.
I was going to say, well, that was. Then I've seen who she was specially interested in. It's Valandria.
Oh, here we go again.
I think she was
Yep.
the second bass player, Ken.
Okay.
She was not the original bass player.
Right. Well, she might have been lead after Stevie Vai left or something like that. You know,
That's
could
true.
be. But yeah, so I just wanted to share a few of the hex generating tools are
That's
out there.
cool. Yeah,
I think Hex Roll. I have that one saved on my other computer, and I've kind of just messed around with it. I haven't really had a time to look at it, but they have the free version, and then I think it's on itch.io. IO, thank you. And
Yeah.
and then it unlocks, like here it says unlock this page and click here for a hook. So it has more features to it if you donate to the cause.
What's this one called again? Tim,
just-
please.
Lock this page. This one is called Hex Roll.
Oh, that is Hex Roll. Oh, I thought that was after you went through Hex Roll. Okay.
No, this is still Hex Roll. It's just
Still
got
it,
so many
okay.
different levels to it. It's really the only thing you can't do on this one is edit anything, from what I understand. So what's there, you won't be able to like click on it and like maybe change the names or
Can you download the maps? Can you download anything?
It's what
Or is that a feature you might pay for maybe?
it has a lock page. Oh, you know what? It's got edit the page. Well, there you go. You can edit this page, can't you?
Look at that.
Just
Learned
coming off
on live stream.
You can. Wow, that's right. I don't learn by doing stuff ahead of time.
Right. He has to
Good
explore
live.
the whole
I
hex.
just start pushing buttons.
He
Prep.
likes to explore all 6 miles.
Yeah, but no, it's a pretty slick. It looks like you can download it right here, Paul. Package and download. Map toggles. I don't know what those are. Oh, okay. So you can hide stuff, I guess. I could probably spend an hour here trying to figure shit out.
So you could, but
That'll be next Monday.
You could use this as your VTT if you wanted to bring it up.
Yeah.
It'd be your VTT, right?
Yeah, for a village or a city.
Well, you wouldn't be able to do tokens on it. You could just do it to show stuff.
Theater of the mind, though.
Oh yeah,
You could.
yeah. Well, I mean,
that.
yeah. Your face could be theater of the mind.
Well. I don't know if we want to,
We don't want to do there. Yeah.
I don't want to go
No,
there.
it looks like
but-
you can looks like you can download the map and put it in a VTT also. Put it on Roll20 or something.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the map. For this whatever town this is, it's got it up here at the top, but I can't see it because it's won't come down here. But yeah, pretty cool programs. And that. Do you guys draw your own maps, or do you guys just go on, just borrow them, or just do theater?
I'll make my own.
Mostly steel.
Steel. I know Vance is a stealer. I knew that.
Well, and because I'm doing the how to make a fantasy sandbox. I mean, I could do it either way. Of course, I choose the hard way. I just say I'm going to go ahead and try to see if I can't mimic this on Canva. Oh, look at him drawing his own map.
Let me let's
I've never been a good mapper, but I started messing around with this watching JP Coover.
Oh yeah, he's great. Yeah,
I even did his little video and went and bought the stuff at whatever the dollar store and did the watercolor map to try to figure out how to do that.
That actually looks pretty good, Mike. I like it.
Yeah, that's not shabby.
It was the first stab. I'll try it again. That was fun. I was gonna 5e players. I was gonna surprise them at the table. They impress easily.
Right.
If that doesn't work, I'll get a bottle of booze out.
Any amount of work you put in, your players tend to be like, "Oh, we weren't expecting that."
Right. I'm going to share one of my favorite things too that I use. Go ahead, Ken.
I had used a program. This is an old program. It came out in. Well, the last update was 2015, so it's 10 years ago.
Mike, set your camera to mirror mode so that the text on stuff you hold up will be
Can't do
flowing in the right direction.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
I'm
He
on
just
the-
doesn't want.
It's an Apple thing. I'm on an iMac, even though I will see it properly.
Just tell Greg he's not the boss of you. You don't need to do what Greg says.
Oh, it's Greg's. Yeah, I went through that with a video the other day. If I set up my iPhone and I shoot from that, like for a recorded video, it's fine.
So Tim, I just posted the link to what I had used called Auto Realm.
Okay, I will share it. You can share that stuff too, Ken, just so you know.
Okay.
But I will share it right now. All right.
And I've been able to do.
Is that the one you did your mont port with, Ken?
I did both for dungeon stuff.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you can't really do like fancy floor tiles and stuff like that, but and then I used it. I don't know if you remember the city map I had in Montport.
I do. I mean, vaguely, but I do kind of remember what it looked like. If you find it, then just share it, and I can put it up there. So this one's just kind of a very basic but very effective one. Then, Ken?
Yeah, it's free and it's
free. It's hard to. Yeah, it looks like it hasn't been updated for 10 years. So, no, that's cool. What's it called again? Auto Realm. Okay. I do remember you using that back in the day. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm going to share one of the things the quickest way to make a hex maps for me is I love, and I've spoken about these things before. My game stamps. Love these things. This basically stamps you make hex.
Oh yeah.
Love these things. I've got everything, I think, except I don't know. I've got all of his sets, I think, except I don't have these ones where you make your own hexes with that, and you use ink to kind of make shaded, like you could do the watercolor thing with this. Actually, that's how he demonstrated it. Oh, there's an example of it.
Oh,
right
they're
there.
templates. They're
like, those are templates.
Stencils. They're stencils.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, those ones are for that, but these ones up here, they're all stamps. He's got such a wide variety of stamps.
Stamps are cool.
They are. I mean, you can make because when I hand draw my hex maps, they take hours and days sometimes, and with these stamps, I can get them done quick. And I think everybody seems to like the look of them. They have that old. They kind of have that old world feel to them for some reason, even though they're very uniform. But I think they look good. I'm seeing if I can find one of my.
It's very crafty, and I like that part of it because if you just put out a brown piece of butcher paper,
yes,
and I think kids would enjoy that, especially too. That if you're going along and you say, "Hey, we're putting that here, stamp that," or put that there, and you're doing this kind of building as you're going along, kind of thing. That's kind of fun.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Especially any type of interaction that you can get the kids to do.
I do the Christmas wrapping paper thing where you just go get a roll of that for $1 at dollar store or whatever and flip it over, and there's always a 1-inch by 1-inch grid for your dungeon thing, and go to town with a marker.
Yeah, this is one of the small ones I did years ago for, I can't remember which adventure it was. Oh no, this was your guys' map from when you guys were doing it.
Yes. That's where we got lost most of the time, Tim,
Yeah.
if I remember
If
correctly.
only you had that map.
If only we had a map.
You guys did have a map. You remember you guys did have a map, but just because you have a map doesn't mean
well, that's true. We still had to roll because it was.
How many people had road maps back in the day and say, "Oh shit, we're lost"?
Can't get there from here.
Yeah. Well, we had nobody to look. All we had was the undead to ask which direction to go. So it's not like we could stop by the gas station like we used to do and go, "Hey, how many blocks to this?"
Well, you had your wife
get
too,
here?
because you weren't going to get out of the car and ask for it.
That's probably true. I wasn't going to leave my horse. That's for sure.
Because of Greg's giant eagles. Yeah,
that's right. Death Angel
right.
says, I went through a phase of collecting map utilities. Death Angels, feel free to leave any ones that you enjoy in the comments, by the way.
Incarnate, yeah.
Dice collection.
All right, Tim, how do I share my? Oh, never
You
mind.
should see it in the center, the buttons down below, Ken, right in the middle.
Screen with an arrow on it.
Yeah, the little computer screen with an arrow. Just push that, and then it'll let me know that you're going to share something, and then I'll deny it. Okay.
And you'll say, "Get that crap out of here!
Get out of here with that stuff." There we go.
Yeah.
Make that one roll. Let's see. Get the. How do I get rid of the
Onion bottom? Onion bottom's what you get when you spend too much time wading through the river.
I want to go to the Awana forest because every 5 seconds I'd be going, I want to go home.
Hey, I don't know, Tim. Ken's got some French names in here, Montport. And,
oh yeah, Montport. Yeah, he said that was his big mega dungeon. Yeah, we went through that for a couple
you can
years.
see up in the red print up towards the top. Really, the only places you guys went was from Montport back to the dungeon, back and forth.
Well, basically, we went a couple times, and then we were in Montport, and then we were there for quite a while.
I think you spent. I just was looking at some of that stuff. At least 40 sessions. We had a campaign that lasted at least 40 sessions. That was just in the dungeon.
Onion bottom is what happens when you don't put ogre toilets in your dungeon. Wow. Well, I mean, if Joe's playing, you just got to throw one in there. Yeah. And then
Joe will be happy. I'm designing a dungeon right now that does have a latrine in it. So
we call them Joes now. Remember?
Yeah, it's in the language of the inhabitants called the Jola.
I think Montport. I think I had put at least 100.
Oh, good.
100 restrooms in there.
You did. There was no shortage of bathrooms in Montport. No, I mean, we were hitting them all the time.
I think
every once in a while you find some gold pieces in the bowl.
Right. We were not ashamed to dig in the dig in into it. I don't know why they put gold in the poop, but hey, why not? I guess it's better than just finding corn.
Exactly.
So if you want to hold up your players, just like if you find it's like the porta potties, it's like there's a line. Like every time you go, the party has to go to the bathroom. Well, you got to stand in line. There's about 10 guys. There's 10 guys in front of you.
See a bunch of kobolds hopping up and down, holding their.
Yeah, there was actually even a reason for it. It's because they were. It was a monastery at one time,
and the monks gotta pee.
Yep,
gotta pee.
And at one time they had little portable holes in each one.
Oh,
you did find a portable hole. I think in the kitchen.
I kind of remember that in the
the chimney. You were looking at
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I found one in the chimney.
The chimney didn't go all the way outside. It just went up into a portable hole.
I think Chubby's implying that in a finer, really nice, high district type of castle, you'd have that guy waiting outside the castle loo, the little cabinet you would go in and crap out into the moat. He'd be waiting there with 3 or 5 different colognes, some mouthwash, a towel, matches, those kind of things. You do have to tip those.
Dagger, sling. Yeah.
If you found a portable hole, would you need to go to the latrine anymore? You just bring out the portable hole and throw it on the ground. And
well, we're still talking about castles. There ain't no latrine. It's just going through a hole. I actually have some pictures from last September in Scotland and Ireland. I'm like, oh, this is too good. I got to take a picture of this crap. Little rough.
I got to imagine that got interesting on some cold, windy days. They would
yeah. Ain't no potty warmers.
And outside the bathroom with toiletries and.
What do I say?
So you guys didn't hear me say this, but my wife did. So she's asking me what I said, and I said she's the one that stands outside the bathroom with the cologne and the towel and everything else. So when I kept, like the bathroom attendants.
Oh,
yeah. I'll be
He's
sleeping.
your
at-
bathroom attendant, huh? How
Yeah.
much shit can a portable hole hold? I think 10 square feet of shit or something like that.
You'd have to ask Rob. Rob probably has a page on that.
Yeah, you have to clean it out every once in a while.
Yeah,
I'm surprised
you got
that's
like
not in
a
the book.
goblin that goes in there.
Scatological content by volume.
I don't know. Is that one
He
of your
probably
steps
has
you
a
got to go through?
It is
He has a
now.
spreadsheet
It's gonna be the
for
last step. It's gonna be the last step I do.
Oh, too funny. Yeah. And then let's see. I gotta keep forgetting where I was left off there. And then we already kind of talked about, like, what do you guys use? Do you guys just use a very basic key? Don't get too complex with it. I mean, keys are, I think you got to keep them simple. I think that's what they're talking about. Keys, legends.
Oh, like a legend? Yeah.
Yeah.
My problem is trying to keep it consistent. You ever start drawing a map and your mountain's one way, then later you come back to it a week later. You start drawing a different kind of mountain. Shit.
You have to make sure all the light is coming.
Right.
Yeah, or the light's coming
shade
from
on one
side.
side. Yes. Yeah.
It's like, I'm not getting paid for this.
But Death Angel, let's see. You got Campaign Cartographer 3. I have Campaign Cartographer 3. I got it for I got a lot of its, what do you call it, the accessories that go with it, but I have no clue how to use it. It's like some CAD program. I don't know. I couldn't figure out. I'm not that good with new computer programs anyways. But it does have a lot of cool, like, picture art for maps on it. So you can take the art from it. Definitely.
I just got one like that for an iPad, and you buy the filter, the pin setting, the sets, that look like certain trees or whatever, and then you just draw them with your pen.
I think I've seen it. What's that one called, Mike? You can't just talk about it and then not do it.
It's downstairs. I'll find it while y'all go on. I'll find it. It's
is that the one where I see the advertisements for, where he's taking his pen and he's just?
I don't know. I don't see all of your advertisements, Tim.
Well, it's
no way to spy on your computer.
Yeah, CC3 has a steep learning curve. Yeah, yes, it seems like it does. I think they were trying to make an easier version of it, but I don't know if they did or not. But somebody mentioned Encarta, and I love Encarta. I'll share my two versions of. Paul doesn't like my one hex that I made.
What one hex?
The hex flower.
Oh, I liked your hex flower. Why didn't I like your hex flower?
I don't know. You said that you didn't like that.
That's not what I said. Where did you?
That's what you meant.
Gosh,
are you guys married?
Are you hormonal today,
That's
Tim?
what you meant.
I don't even.
I
don't feel like I don't even know you anymore, Tim.
I gotta find it now. That'll make me hormonal. Trying to find this shit is the hard part. So it's the one we were doing the hex thing with.
Yes, with the French dwarves.
With the French dwarves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you end up seeing any of that the other night?
I wish you were there.
I
have not. I have not had time. I want to do it. I want to sit down and watch the whole thing. I don't want to.
It's long. Yeah, I think. Well, what did we do? About an hour or something, like maybe an hour and a half.
About an hour and a half on that, and then we drifted onto other topics for like the last 45 minutes.
No, I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it went to. It was a lot of fun, starting it off. So I'm excited.
Well, we got some interesting stuff for the Austinburg and Havenford, like some of what was going on in there. That was good.
Definitely took kind of a dark turn there for.
That did definitely take a dark turn. Yeah, but a good turn. I liked it.
Just the stuff that we were.
Let me see where I got it called. Maybe it's up here. Sometimes I don't seem to save stuff in the same place.
I would want to see a civil war break out at some point between the town there. There should just be some sort of all out
brutal.
Yeah, winner gets to keep the name. They name the whole town, whatever they're going to name it. They name it what they want to name it.
Called Doomsville, huh?
It would be for some.
It'll just end up with a third name. Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Tim, that program is called Procreate.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking about. Okay. Yeah, I've been looking at that one because I see the ads on my one site, and it comes up all the time. How do you like it?
I love it. I bought it. I put it on my iPad, and I haven't opened the iPad in 2 weeks.
Right. Just like a
But
typical
other than
gamer.
that, it is
As-
great.
As you do.
You love it a lot, clearly.
I could put it on the
Yeah.
shelf with a lot of books that I bought. And have not read.
I was going to say, just put it with the rest of the
It's
gaming
another
books you buy,
thing.
and there's
Yeah.
more trophy than anything else. So here is the hex that I made with Incarnate. And I can't seem to find the other one right now.
Her teeth are clean.
So yeah, I like definitely like the look of Incarnate and everything, and add some nice stuff. But
What's going on with the rabid elves?
we didn't get into the rabbit elves. We focused a lot on Austenburg and Havenwood, and then we did the
Lukenbach.
French dwarves.
Yeah.
I think that's
In the
and
Nolan.
we did do some Overwatch because we decided that was kind of associated with the Havenford side of the town. And then I think we did stuff with Knowles. We didn't touch anything on the Rabbit Elves, the Black Vein Mine, the Frog Temple, or the hole in the mountain that we've yet to determine, or if we will determine what's there.
Yep.
Kind of thing. So,
Cool.
Go curl up on the couch.
but yeah, no, Incarnate's a good one. I ended up paying for that one too. I think I bought a year subscription or something for it. So I think the map, I bought that one because I think they look really nice on Roll20. And plus I like trying to learn a new thing. What is Death Angels? I used to use Map Tool. Yeah. I'm mapping it for my VTT. So I was trying to find out things to use it for. Then I got Foundry, and felt like I had to step things up to another level for fancy graphics. Yeah. I don't know if I've ever used Foundry. I think I tried to use Map Tool, but I just didn't. I like my hand drawn maps a little bit better than those. So, but and then Paul, I did start working on that hex area, the hexing area in my campaign.
Yeah.
I started working on a map for it too. And now I'll have to find it sometime and share it for you because right now I don't know where it's at.
Okay.
But I started doing that. It's almost got kind of a, I don't know. I'm trying to shy. It wants to lean into more Ravenlofty kind of feel for it, and I'm trying to keep it more hexy. But it definitely wants to lean into Ravenloft.
Yeah. Yeah.
But do you guys have anything else you want to add to the Hex Crawl stuff? Or any details? I mean, one of the big things I think too is just getting your factions figured out. Who's going to be where, and then kind of have some semblance of a kind of like what I would call like the Venn diagram of factions. You know, which ones intersect, which ones don't. How far does influence go?
Yeah.
It makes it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, well, I was just working on that today. I was working on what's going to be kind of the home base area of Skyreach.
Skyreach.
Okay. And I had to determine some things. Like example, talk about mounts. I went with giant rams to pull what is called road hulks.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And these road hulks are what used to be used in the Shadow Wars, and now there's no war going on per se. So they use them they're like Brinks trucks, basically.
Okay, I remember you saying that, yeah.
And so they're now used. But then I had to say, well, where do they get the giant goats from? Well, they have to go north up there because they're called mountain. They're giant. They're basically giant ram mountain goats, where they have to go up north to get those if they run out or should they need them. So the economics of the hexes,
yeah,
is where do they get some of these things from? And then I came up with I was just doing what's called, and Rob calls them regional organizations, that
Gotcha.
They are expansive. So I came up with a steampunk druidic order. that they believe that technology and nature can work together, and they're busy out there. There's like in between Guardian Grove and the Witches of the Blackened Earth is this kind of like barren area, kind of where the blight kind of is creeping forward. Right. They kind of man that area. They're all in that kind of area, so they can now fight. They're an independent, organization because they're trying to save the forest and all that. But now I have this organization now that can be, could be anywhere, is there to do some things. So, little things like that, but also that where do they get this, some of these weapons? Well, in Skyreach, there's a place called the Ironclad Yards, and that's like a industrial complex there where they make these road hulks, these giant furnaces and kilns and those things. So they make some of the weaponry for the druids. Okay. And I want to say they're called the something cog. The what are they called? I can hear. They are called the
what are they called, Paul?
I know. I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure it out.
While he's looking, I just wanted to warn Ken that if you're looking at your bank statement, I think we can read it in your glasses.
No, I'm not.
It's reflected in your lenses, so be careful. That's how people steal identities.
No, I actually just downloaded a new version of AutoRealm.
Oh, do they have a different version out? I can. Huh?
Well, I don't have it on this computer, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The Verdant Cog, that's what it's called.
Oh, the Verdant Cog, very good.
Yeah, the Verdant Cog, and they are, like I said, they're a bunch of steampunk druids that are using technology to fight. They like to call it fight the blight. That's their recruiting. that's how they get people to join them.
That's great. Now, did you just come up on their zones? Did you ever use those storyteller cards to help you out with coming up with any of this stuff?
Not with the names, not those things. It's just I was just sort of mulling it over of what I kind of wanted. So I just kind of iterated with that. Okay. But I have all these. I mean, I have 30 locations basically that will find their way. I was thinking of that the other day. I was like, oh, that'd be a good place for this. So eventually they'll, I'll go back to that and start maybe plotting some things into there.
I'm interested to see what you do with those adventures. I've been waiting for those to see you flesh those out.
Yeah, and I want to make sure I have the town first, kind of the starting point.
Makes sense.
And then kind of when I do that, I'll start dropping because the town of Skyreach already has a lot of adventure hooks in it already, but I want to be able to drop one of these adventures either nearby would be one of the first adventures that you'd find out. I'll probably go through those and start figuring out what's over in the western area of Kriesh.
This is what he built it. Oh, Death Angel built a new PC years ago, and you can't find his stuff. Yeah, I can't find the stuff I saved 10 minutes ago half the time. So
I switched computers too, and I don't have
a lot of what you had. Yeah, I'm going to be switching computer. I'm going to be getting a new computer probably in the near future. Hopefully, one that's not quadrupled in price from tariffs and stuff like that. But so I got to make sure I save just the thousands of PDFs I don't read. We all got them.
I lost a lot of my dungeon maps.
Oh, you lost those dungeon maps, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
That's what Dropbox is for.
Well, do you still have
I have it now. Yeah.
Do you still have Roll20, Ken, with that minute?
I still have them in Roll20.
But I don't know if you can salvage those from there or not. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. I had maybe you guys had made it down to the 4th level.
Is that all the further we made it, Ken? Is the 4th? I thought we went down like 6 miles.
Well, there was a separate stairway that led down to the.
I'm not exaggerating. It was long. It took us like a full day and a half.
It was a 75-mile long.
75 miles. Okay. So even I shortchanged it. Yeah.
And you had to cross at one point. You had to cross a chasm, and you. I think it was Dan's character. He was a gnome, and he could levitate.
Right.
But he couldn't propel himself across, and so he levitated, and then you guys gave him a big shove.
Yeah.
And you guys couldn't see far enough to see what was across. And he did have a rope tied to him, but he just went floating out into the.
Yeah. It was like what do you call it? The fly fishing. We just threw it out there. see if anything bit and pull back. Yeah, we just kind of. It's effective.
Yeah, helium balloon. And you just kind of.
Yeah, at that point, they're bait. Yeah, absolutely. He became king of the gnomes, anyways. I think in the end, something like that.
King of the gnomes.
Well, I think that's a good place to end it, guys. Unless you guys want to add something at the end.
I was going to add this. I know it's back.
Oh yeah. That's your.
Which I read.
What's it? Is it Carl Matt or Matt Carl? I can't tell. When you got two first
Matt
names.
Dinneman, and the name of the book is Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Oh, okay.
And I wasn't sure what to think. It has a really stupid premise that reminded me a lot of what was the first? Now I'm completely blank. Restaurant at the End of the Universe, the first one, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
I was going to say Hitchhiker. Yeah.
It starts off very similar to that, where Earth gets destroyed, and anybody that happened to be outside, not in a building or in a car, but anybody that was outside was saved, and then they had an hour to find an entrance to a dungeon. And under all the parts of the earth was this giant dungeon that was like, I don't know, 18 levels or something like that. And it was a game show being shown across the universe of dungeon crawlers who were all earthlings crawling through this dungeon. And they had inside their head, they could see stat blocks and their, they could save items and store them. And so he ended up in the dungeon. This guy, Carl, ends up in a dungeon with his ex-girlfriend's cat named Princess Donut. And I just thought this is either going to be really fun or it's going to be really stupid. And it turned out to be really fun.
Well, there's 7 books in the series, apparently, Ken.
Yeah, there is. And it's like... So...
Movie forthcoming. If there's 7 books, there will be probably...
There's a lot of books, yeah. Carl and Princess Donut are forced into a deadly dungeon designed by aliens after the destruction of Earth. That's the first one, huh?
But are there horses?
I don't know. They got donuts.
There are llamas.
Llamas?
Okay,
llamas
sure.
That spit acid.
Crap, thanks.
That spit acid. There you go. I like that.
Yeah, they also sell meth.
Is that like a potion of healing?
Well, there's some other mobs in the dungeon that are addicted to meth, and so
so the llamas are like the bad, like the bad guys on the corner.
And there are dingo riding kobolds, and the kobolds themselves are not the lizards, but they're chihuahuas.
Chihuahuas, the dog version, yeah.
So, but it was actually you know, it's. I mean, it is what it is. It's not.
They got a lot of
not,
merchandise for this series. They got plushes of Princess Donut, stickers.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of merch on this thing.
It's
Jeez.
not.
I'm gonna buy me a
Patches.
Princess Donut shirt.
Yeah, it's not
Scarves.
pride. It's not Pride and Prejudice, but it was exactly what I needed to read, though. And
That's cool.
Did it
and
lean
so-
into all the tropes? Did you know that the person
donuts?
writing it kind of said, "Hey, we're gonna break open this kind of world of dungeon crawling and lean into all the various things."
Yeah, but he. I mean, and there's stuff like there are, like they have to go on these because they're one of the leading teams. They have to get sponsorship and followers and views and
So dungeon crawling is an e-sport, is what we have here.
it is.
Right.
It's watched by trillions of beings across
Yeah,
the
Universe,
universe.
huh?
so it's kind of like Running Man, right? Running Man was.
I was gonna say it
bit.
sounds a little bit like Running Man.
Yeah, I mean it
Just more outrageous, you know.
borrows from a lot of those things, and it doesn't take itself seriously, but it also is not like I've read some books that you know were meant to be sort of this quirky and they're just not. They're not funny and they're not good. And this
Right.
one I've laughed out loud, but there's also like the battles. Like there were some things where it was like, wow, that was really cool. How
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I've seen it, but I never thought about picking
but
it
it,
up.
it got me like, oh, I need to start working on a dungeon again.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Good.
So maybe
Yeah.
in the fall I'll roll something out that
That'd be fun, Ken. Yeah, because you always come up with some good stuff with your dungeons when you get down to it. So
Still waiting for Ken to run a game.
I know.
Mega
I've been-
Dungeon. Let's
Mega
go.
Dungeon, Ken. Yeah.
Mega Dungeon.
Again, I
Ken,
joined the
let's
group.
go.
They promised me you were going to run a game.
all right, well,
All right.
Son of Blaga.
Pressure.
Dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
No, you're Draymond. Draymond.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Vance was Blaga.
Right.
And Paul was dead half the time, or losing his
Paul was a
ass.
variety of characters.
Losing my hammer.
Yes. Like it rolled out into the fog. Damn it. Yeah.
And
There we go. Here we go.
and Joe was QVC.
Well, no, he wasn't the seller. He was the buyer. He was
I
just like he was the lady on the phone that bought, the 500th platter that has cats on it. You know.
Didn't his character get kicked out of who got kicked out of the
That was Paul.
Oh, that's right.
Paul decided to try to start a fight in a mages guild.
Yes.
Lesson learned.
Well, I mean, nothing happened to you. I mean,
Yeah.
just
But
got
also
kicked out.
didn't help me. So that was the pivotal point in his growth there, because he as a character.
Gotcha. Yeah. You started trying to find a little bit different path because Doom doesn't work in the city that
Doom
well.
doesn't work in the city.
Yeah.
Well, I
That's
think
it. That's his book he's gonna write. Doom doesn't work in the
I
city.
think that's the name of Chubby's new vampire in the city for Shadow Dark game is Doom doesn't work. In the city.
Maybe.
Too long,
Yeah.
too long a title.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's he called? I think he calls it Shadow City.
Probably Shadow City.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Doomville? Would it be
Doomville. Yeah.
Doomville or Doonberg?
Doomberg. Yeah.
Well,
Head down to the Berg.
that's right.
All right, guys. Well, we've been going. So thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks for the input for everybody. Thanks everybody for showing up. Mike, Vance, Ken, and Paul, Mr. Doom himself.